out about our event tonight. So this event is called Attitude Over Age. My name is Susan Smiley. I am a founding connector with Solvasa, and we are being sponsored tonight by Solvasa. And this group was actually a brainchild of about 4 women this summer, where we really wanted to talk about what it means to be living in this day and age and being over 50. So that's where we started. And I know there are people here on with us tonight who are not 50 or older, but you're here to learn with us, and we're really always happy to have you with us. So the way we're going to do it tonight is, first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit about why this evening means so much to me. And then Truman Hunt, the chairman of our board, is going to speak to us about our channel and what it means to be 50 and the benefits, or over 50 and the benefits of being in network marketing and direct sales, what this channel has to offer us. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for question and answers at the end. But if you have a question that comes up during the event, feel free to put it into the chat, and we're going to let Truman know what those questions are as we go. So this event tonight, it really speaks to my heart. And the reason why it does, it means a great deal to me, because in 2009, my husband and we got caught by the last recession. We were in our mid-50s. I had left the corporate world and had joined my husband. He's an architect and was designing and building homes. And so when that recession hit, we lost all of our income. We were in one place. We had all of our income in one place, and we had multiple mortgages. We went through our savings pretty quickly, and it was actually our accountant who said, I think you need to take a look at network marketing, which I did. I started my first company a little over 10 years ago, and with the help of that business, we were able to keep the bankers off our backs, save all of our properties, and then come out to the point where now we are mortgage debt-free. So it was a huge thing for us, this industry, and it was an industry I didn't know anything about. But now I love it. It has changed our lives drastically. Solvasa came in to my life last winter, and when I heard it was Lori Bush, I said, yes, I want to take a look, and I want to add this to my portfolio. Tonight, we're going to hear from Truman Hunt. And as I tell you a little bit about Truman, so Truman, if I have your story wrong, you let me know. Or if I have it,
hope it's better than the real one.
Let me know. But when Truman joined us, it was really exciting. And the reason that it was so exciting is because of 2 reasons, but his background was the first one. And Truman, my understanding is that he was a business attorney first, and that from there, a couple of his friends had started a business called New Skin, and they wanted him to come to them and help them. And I think it was about going public. I'm not sure. He can fill us in on that. But he said, yes, I will come. I'll help you get through this time. But then I'm out, right? He didn't have any really interest. At least that was his intention. He went in, fell in love with the company, fell in love with the business model and the people, and decided to stay. And he was the CEO for 14 years. And he took that company with his team to their first $1 billion year, and then to over $3 billion and up by the time he left, which is huge for a company to make those kind of progression. Also, they took that company, which is a beauty and wellness company, into markets in Asia, markets in Europe, and markets in South America. So for us, for Solvasa as a startup, to have him as the chairman of our board with that kind of background is phenomenal. So we all jumped up and down when we heard that he was joining us. But for me, there's something else, and that is that in the last 3 months, 4 months, Truman has really poured into us as a community. As a community of connectors, he trains us on monthly. And most chairmen of the board, you don't ever get to see him, but he's here with us, and he is pouring into us so that we can become really strong leaders too, which means the world to me. And so he leads with a big open heart, and I have a feeling that you're going to like him as much as I do. So with that, I am going to turn this over to Truman and see if I made any of that up.
Thank you so much, Susan. I'm going to have you introduce me every time I speak anywhere. That was very nice and generous of you. And true for the most part. Not exactly right in one key aspect though, and it has to do with my purpose for wanting to be with you all this evening, and that is that it is true that I knew the founders of Nu Skin. In fact, we were all in college together, and I actually resisted the invitation to get involved in the business for years, and actually like for 12 years. You know, my friend Blake and we were inseparable from age 19 until about age 24 when I decided to go to law school, and Blake decided to start Nu Skin. And he would say, you know, we're starting this direct selling company. It's going to be all about skincare, and we've got some great product ideas. And I would, you know, why don't you come and do this with us? I just say, you know, Blake, I just can't see myself selling lotion for a living, and or doing it, you know, person to person. I mean, I think I'm going to go to law school, and then after law school, you know, I'm stuck in the practice. And Blake would invite me to their events from time to time, and I would sit there and at a Nu Skin event, looking around the room, just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is just so different than what I do. And so I resisted for years his invitation to get involved in the business. And that's the mistake that I hope to save you all of tonight, because the ramification of my skepticism towards the business is represented by several zeros in our respective net worths, Blake's versus mine. Now, you know, life plays out the way that it should, and I don't regret the way that it has gone. But you know, time is important. Time is our most precious asset. And I gave up. I missed on the opportunity to get involved with Nu Skin for 12 years before I finally did, and before I finally opened my mind to a different way of doing business. And it worked out okay for me, but I do kind of wish I had been there 10 or 12 years earlier. And that's where we are today. We are so excited about this little startup called Solvasa. I'm really excited about it. I think it's, I feel very strongly that it's going to be a winner. And we're just anxious to invite like-minded people to help us build a business that is truly built to last, and one that can be a blessing to you, and not just to you, but to your children and to your grandchildren for decades to come. Now, I'm going to show some slides here, and we'll see if this screen share works. I don't know. Sometimes it seems to, sometimes it doesn't. Let me see if I'm able to pull it up. Hold on. Let's see. I'm not very good at this. Okay. I know I've got my slides up now. Let's see. Am I still connected here?
Yes. Oh, there you go.
Anybody seeing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm going to run through some slides here fast, and I know our time is short, and I don't want to pull anyone away from your favorite election coverage this evening. So I'm going to move pretty quickly and just share with you why Solvasa, I think, is well positioned to make a big difference in the marketplace. I really believe in the power of direct selling. And that story that Susan just shared with us, Susan, your personal story of how direct selling was a blessing to you is exactly what I experienced time and time again at New Skin. And so it would drive me nuts. You know, we were a publicly traded company. I'd go to investor conferences and I'd have skeptical, Wall Street investors sitting in the audience, and it would just drive me a little bit nuts when they would characterize the business in a way that just bore no resemblance to the reality that Susan just described of the blessing that direct selling is in so many people's lives. I want to just touch on what's happened in the last 7 months. You know, in March, beginning of March, my wife and I were living in San Jose, California when COVID hit. And San Jose was a little bit of a hot spot early on because we have, a large, very diverse community, lots of travel, especially to China with companies like Apple based there and whatnot. And I don't think anyone could have fathomed how COVID was going to impact the economy in so many disparate ways at the time that it hit. And it's really interesting to me to see data like this. And I hope that you can see this okay on your screen. This was just published by Success Partners, which is a publication that covers direct selling. And the graph that you see on the right there with the green bars is the percentage of direct selling companies that experienced growth on a month-over-month basis. So the world falls apart in March, and 84% of direct selling companies grew from February to March. And then 80%, 72, and then summer hits, and summer typically slows down. The remarkable thing about what's happened in this COVID environment is that direct selling has flourished. And it's really flourished because direct selling tends to be really good at healthy living and keeping people healthy. And we also provide a platform for people, as Susan experienced in 2008, 2009. We saw mortgage brokers, we saw realtors, we saw, people in traditional corporate environments just all of a sudden in real trouble. And we saw them really flooding into the direct selling opportunity because it's a low risk, easy business platform to build on. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing our product categories resonate, and we're seeing our opportunity platform resonate with so many people. Now, there's trends going on in the marketplace that you're all familiar with, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on any one of these because you're all aware of it. But, malls shutting down right and left, retailers going bankrupt right and left. We see a new form of shopping, which is just delivery at your door. And it blows me away how this has become the primary mechanism for people to shop these days, is on their doorstep instead of going to the store. We also know that people are bombarded with information overload. In the political environment, the label is fake news. But in the consumer environment, the label could be infobesity because there's so much information overload that people can't filter what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's not. And so they're looking for curated content. And your opportunity to curate products, to share your stories, to demonstrate, to show people how to use products is super beneficial in a world where people are overwhelmed with information. And despite the fact that people are shopping online, they still don't have the opportunity to taste and touch and feel and smell and experience a product before they actually buy it. So direct sellers have the opportunity to also bridge that gap and really be the bridge that consumers need to be able to test products. Trends 4 and 5 are big, and especially for those of you who are over the age of 50. The reality is that we're living longer than we used to, like a lot longer. But at the same time, our savings rate is horrible in this country. You see that bump up in between 2000 and 2010. That's because the financial crisis got everybody saving. And then 2 years later, we're right back down to where we were before. And I'll bet you that in the COVID environment, we're going to see savings rates go back up. But the reality is, we as a society are not necessarily in good financial shape. We're living longer and we can't afford it. One of the revelations that I've had in my life, and I'm 61, and I had for the majority of my career a really good, high-paying job. And I would manage to set aside each month a portion of my salary into a 401k plan and into a deferred compensation plan. And I'm doing my best to save my way to financial security. But I quickly realized that it's tough. I mean, almost no matter what you make, it's very, very difficult to save your way to financial security. And so that gives rise to the dilemma that we face, which is so few people in our country are really prepared for retirement. 1 in 3 Americans have zero saved for retirement. 28% of people over 55, almost a third, have no retirement savings. And what particularly gnaws at me is the fact that the plight for women is worse than it is than the plight for men. And I don't like that, because I have 2 daughters and I have 3 daughters-in-law, and I don't want them to be vulnerable to this economic reality. And so that all gives rise to the opportunity that we have with Solvasa as well. And then finally, I think you're all aware of the reality of the gig economy that's developing around us. And COVID is only adding to that, because people are realizing that they really can work from home. And I know that after, when COVID settles down, we'll gravitate back to going into the office to some degree as we did before. But what COVID's also teaching us is that we don't have to do that. And it really is possible to work from home. It really is possible to have side gigs. And within another couple of years, almost 25% of our population will be involved in one side gig or another. What I love about direct selling is that it's an equal opportunity platform. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have graduated #1 in your class. You don't have to have any particular educational background. And a lot of times, honestly, what I've seen is that sometimes, like, really smart, successful people, like even MDs, will get involved in direct selling, and they'll see someone be successful at it, and they'll say to themselves, well, if that person can do it, then I should surely be able to do it, because after all, I'm an MD, I'm a smart guy. And they jump in and they find that it's work. And you actually do have to be tenacious, and you have to have ambition, and you have to treat this like the business that it is, or it's not going to happen on its own. But what it is it's an equal opportunity platform. It can work for anyone. So these are the trends that are really working in our favor, and that lead me to believe that direct selling continues to have a very bright future. And I've seen these trends play out not just in the United States, but globally. And I'll tell you what the world underestimates. The world underestimates the need for opportunity in the world in which we live. And right now, there's an insatiable appetite for opportunity around us. I want to talk a little bit about why Solvasa, because my guess is that there are some on this line who have probably been involved in other direct selling companies like Susan was. Maybe your experience was positive, maybe it wasn't. And then there are others who haven't been involved in direct selling in the past, who are aware that there are lots of competitors in the marketplace. And you might ask yourself, why Solvasa in a marketplace where there are dozens of other companies that you could go join and be successful with in all likelihood? For me, Point number one has to do with, and I'm not good at touting our own horn here, but I'll share with you an anecdote. On Saturday, I met a guy. We actually went golfing with a mutual friend of ours, who, as I got to know him, I learned that he owns 4 direct selling companies, 4 network marketing companies. One of them he owns 100%, and the other 3 he's a majority partner in. And I said, so that's kind of an interesting approach, isn't it? To have multiple direct selling companies. Like, what are you thinking there? And his response was confirmed to me what one of the biggest challenges is for our industry. He said, well, I just figured that one of them's going to hit, and if I can get one hit, I'll be great. And if the others don't do so well, then that's just the way that it goes. And look, I'm not judging this guy or his motivations, but what I've seen time and time and time again is that owners of direct selling companies tend to be in it for them instead of being in it for their sales leaders. And I told Lori when I got involved here that was just not me. And I know that it's not her. We're building this platform to last and to be here for you for decades. This is not a quick flip to a private equity firm. This is a platform that we want you to be comfortable is going to be here forever, because that's the way I see my capital. I am the largest investor in Solvasa right now, and I view my capital there as permanent capital. I told Lori that I'm not looking for an exit for this capital, and I don't want to bring on any other shareholders who are, because this is how I want to spend my life, and this is the platform that we want to build, and we're not doing it to flip it. Now, point number 2 is super critical too.
Thank you, Del.
I really needed to have a partner in this business who I knew could truly innovate. There's just too many companies out there who just crush up any old leaf and throw it in a capsule and call it a weight loss product. And that's not what I want to do. And I know it's not what Lori wants to do. And I know the direct selling industry well enough to know that there just aren't very many people out there like Lori Bush who have the ability to be so substantive within the product categories that I have 100% confidence that this company is going to truly be able to innovate from a product perspective. And that's really important to me, because if you can't differentiate your products, you're going to die. And I'm super happy with our initial product line, and particularly the wand, which I think has enormous potential. And we're just getting started with what is going to be tens of millions of these units in every bathroom in the country. Attribute number 3 to me is a little bit subtle, I suppose, but really important to me. And that is that I wanted to be part of a company that rewards people appropriately. And where the dynamics of the compensation model are built to promote teamwork and mutual success. And the reason why I'm sensitive about this is because in my former life, and I know that in other companies' compensation systems, there's a weird motive out there that is actually based on the fact that if people below you in your sales team drop out, the volume below them rolls up and you end up making more money. I don't like that dynamic. And I really want to create here an opportunity where if you're just interested in the products, you can share products and make part-time income. If you're a soccer mom and you only have a few hours a week to devote to the business, you can still generate a meaningful income that contributes to your family budget. And if you're someone who's really serious about building a business, I want to make sure that the platform will generously reward you for the hard work and effort that you put into this on a truly residual basis. And so I feel like, even though the compensation plan that we've implemented is still very much in the process of maturing, I think we're on the right path. And in any event, I want you to make sure you understand what our motive here is with the compensation. I wanted to be part of something that has been birthed, that has come to life in the digital era. There are lots of direct selling companies out there who are trying to bolt on digital strategies because they were born pre-digital era, and that's hard to do. And so social media is going to play a big part of what we do, and the success that you'll have as a sales leader in Solvasa. And I think the fact that we're giving birth to this enterprise in a digital era is important. And finally, I wanted to be part of something that is truly purpose driven. And for me, I've known Lori Bush now for 20 years, more than 20 years. And for her to have gone through what she did with her own health crisis and the cancer scare that she went through, and to hear her say to me, as she did one night over dinner, that, you know, she spent her whole career, 30 plus years in skincare, and felt like she got it wrong, that's good stuff. That's meaningful stuff. And here at Solvasa, we're trying to build a business that truly attacks the critical sources of aging, which include stress and inflammation, which are typically overlooked by companies that are just topical. And so I really think that our purpose of enabling people to live a more peaceful life is super compelling to me, because I can tell you that the young moms I know, and my daughters especially, carrying a lot of stress, and they need help. And I love the mindfulness component of what we do, and I love the war on stress that we're waging. I think it's one that we're going to be successful in winning. So I want to just address one other question as we wrap up here. And this is the point that I started with. You might ask yourself, why now? I mean, okay, so Solvasa is a startup. Why would you get involved now as opposed to waiting to some point down the road to see whether Solvasa is going to survive, or to enable you to perhaps explore other alternatives, or whatever the case may be? I mean, I put this picture on this slide because to some extent, our job as sales leaders is to help people pull their heads out of the sand and realize the reality of the fact that we're all aging, and time is critical, and that the clock is ticking. So this picture was taken at my last New Skin convention, where I had announced that I would be retiring and taking a leave of absence. And these are the three co-founders of New Skin: Steve Lund there on the left, and Sandy Tillotson, and Blake Roney, all of whom I have known since we were literally 19 and 20 years old. That painting, by the way, Blake gave to me as a going away present, and he did it himself. He's quite proud of it. I'm not 100% sure where it is, but I need to find it because I'm going to put it up in my office. I resisted their invitation to get involved with Solvasa for 12 years. It took me 12 years of getting my head bashed in as a lawyer, and then leaving my law practice to go run a business that distributed products through traditional retail channels, to be open to other possibilities. And I don't want you to make the same mistake. You know, this is a low cost, low risk enterprise, and time is of the essence. And the opportunity to get involved in something that is truly on the ground floor, a ground floor opportunity of what I feel is going to be a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, is a rare one. And I just don't want you to make the same mistake that I did and defer that for 12 years. Because yeah, you could join 12 years from now, but the difference between your net worth 12 years from now is going to be several zeros as a result of your involvement today. Because those who are getting involved now are going to be those who really benefit the most in the long run. So with that, Susan, I'm rambling on, and I could ramble on for days, hours. So take it away and let me know where you want to go from here.
Great. Oh, Truman, thank you so much. It's always such an honor to hear from you. Um, for those of you who are guests, we're going to have a question and answer in just a little bit. We're going to open it up so that Truman can answer direct questions for us. But what I want to ask you first to, Truman already hit over these same things, but I want to kind of reinforce the 3 reasons why I started with Solvasa. And there are a lot what he did. First, it was the leadership. It was Lori Bush that started. It's like as soon as I heard Lori Bush had started a new company, I knew who she was and I wanted to be a part of it. And also, as Truman was talking about, our products are relevant, but it's also that combination for me as a yoga teacher, the mindfulness, looking at stress and how do we deal with stress topically, what do we ingest, who do we spend our time with. And then the last one is the same thing, is being able to be in this startup was huge for me. The fact that we have a seat at the table with Truman Hunt is huge, right? And so it's to be able to be part of this at this point in time with Lori Bush and Dr. Chopra and Truman is really phenomenal, and I just feel really honored. So for those of you who are guests, and I would encourage you at this point in time, go back to whoever invited you and explore this. You can be a part of our community in 3 ways. You can join us in this business to help us build those first 12 years and on, or you can come in for a little bit. You just want to share the products. You want to be somebody who wants to have these products in your bathroom, in your kitchen. And we also have this really beautiful community, online community, that everybody can be a part of to learn more about stress resilience. So I really encourage you to go back, circle back with whoever invited you today and explore it. You know, it may or may not be a fit for you, but you're not going to know unless you start to ask the questions. So with that, let's turn it off. Thank you all for your time. You're more than welcome to stick around, ask questions. We're going to turn the recording off and open this up so everybody feels free to chat with Truman. Thank you, Truman, and thank you everybody for coming.